So thanks everybody for hopping on. I think home equity line of credits right now are going to be the hottest product in the market for multiple reasons. You have a lot of people, as you see, they locked into 30-year fixed rates in the twos and the threes. Markets have gone up so much. They want to access their equity. They didn't listen to cash out refinance, when they should have. And now they're looking for money. They don't want to lose their rates, but they need access to money. They want to do more projects. So it's a very fine line. So I'm going to give you guys some guidance, some strategy, and explain how home equity line of credits work. I personally don't lend on them. I consult on them, and I place them at banks depending on the client, depending on where the property is and what they're looking to achieve. So today's Zoom at Noon is based on HELOCs, or home equity line of credit. A HELOC is a home equity line of credit, and it's the most cost-effective way to access the equity in your home. Most people don't know this, but total closing costs for a home equity line of credit are under $2,000. And I say that because sometimes a second appraisal is needed. Sometimes there are legal fees involved. It all depends on the actual deal, but you can tell your clients $2,000 or less. As we all know, on a regular cash out refinance, closing costs are usually much more than that and take a very long time. Keep this in mind when you're talking to your clients. There are some instances where closing costs are like $500 or less, depending on the client. So why don't all banks offer HELOCs? Well, number one, banks are in business to make money and make a lot of money, as are you, but there's very little money to be made on home equity line of credits, because when the client gets their line of credit approved, they don't necessarily always draw on it right away. So the bank doesn't know what their profitability is going to be. It's actually all risk, right? So that's why I said in line 2, you must have a balance sheet in order to do a home equity line of credit, as the risk is unknown. So if I give you a $500,000 line of credit, but you never use it, and then 2 years from now you use it, now all of a sudden you went from being zero risk to $500,000 worth of risk. So that's how these loans work. Most loan officers are never told how to originate these or facilitate these loans. And that's what makes it more attractive to all of us, because if you're on this call today, you're watching this, you're going to become an expert in knowing how to do these, which will allow you to stay ahead of your competition, stay ahead of the market, and be a hero to somebody that doesn't want to lose their low locked-in interest rate. Now, I look at this as the number one space for opportunity in the market right now. Your competition's not pushing home equity line of credits. Your competition doesn't want to do home equity line of credits. But if you're new, like Mike Young, yourself here, if you get into the market with home equity line of credits, you will be able to extract business from your competition, from other people in your marketplace, from other people that do mortgages in the country, because you're going to be known as the expert. Every single time I post a home equity line of credit post on any of my social media, I get 2 to 3 leads automatically just from posting it, because no one sees any information about it, or they had a bad experience with somebody else, right? Showing everybody the fish. Yeah, swish. So here's what's also nice. As you know, on cash out refinances, you can only go up to an 80% loan to value. Well, on home equity line of credits, you can go up to an 85.99% loan to value, or combined loan to value. So the leverage gives you 5.99% more accessibility to the equity. Now, here's what's nice. Let's say your first mortgage balance at 2% is $300,000, and the value of your home is $500,000. You all take out your calculators. What is the maximum line of credit or home equity line of credit you can get based on a $500,000 value? So take 500,000 times 85.99%. That will give you a number. And then when you get that number, subtract 300,000. And it gives you 129,950. There's no PMI associated with this. It is absolutely hands down the best product in the market right now to access equity. Now, depending on what the client's credentials are, credit score, qualifications, property type, state, the rate of the home equity line of credit is based on prime plus a margin, right? Prime is what the banks borrow at. The margin, or the basis points on top of prime, is where the bank makes its profitability. So prime rate as of yesterday was 3.5%. Let's say you're an excellent client, great credit score. The bank might say, hey, we're prime plus 100 basis points. That means that your interest only payment monthly is 4.5%, which, as we all know, is still a little bit lower than where 30-year fixed rates are today, right? And again, the fact that you have closing costs significantly less as well makes this attractive. Now, the monthly payment is interest only, and the interest is only charged on the money used. So if you get approved for $1 million home equity line of credit, but you only use $100,000 of that immediately, you're only paying the 4.5% on the $100,000. Whereas if you cash out $1 million, you're paying that interest on the $1 million. So if you use $100,000 today, pay it back in 30 days, you're really only paying, call it, 0.375% on that money, which is nothing. It's like $375. So it's like a credit card, but it's absolutely the best option right now for accessing equity while rates sit or are hovering near 5%. Look, I put Dr. Evil. Look, who is that? Dr. Evil. So the minimum home equity line of credit is $15,000. You can't take less than that. You can't apply for less than that. The maximum is $1 million. So if you have somebody who has a $5 million home, a $1 million first mortgage, you can get them access to another $1 million very quickly, very cost effectively. Also, manufactured homes and vacation homes are eligible. So a lot of people have investment properties. Sometimes they use them as Airbnb, second homes. A vacation home, as long as on your tax returns you don't report it as a true investment property, are eligible for equity line of credits as well. Put this nice vacation home on here. I think everyone, if you don't live in a nice, warm, sunny state, this gives everybody a little bit of hope and motivation. The benefits for home equity line of credits are you keep your current low rate and payment, and you pay minimal closing costs. So if you have somebody, again, that has under a 4% 30-year fixed rate right now, they're probably not going to want to lose that and refinance their total debt in most cases. So that way you could do the home equity line of credit, have them keep that and use that variable rate on top of that. Now, usually these loans are 10-year interest only loans. After year 10 or payment 120, if you will, you gotta be quiet, no counting, stop. Your full balance is due. Now, before the balance is due, you can go and contact the lender and ask them to term out the loan, where they can amortize that over a longer payment period, or you could just pay that full balance in full. Most people choose to extend that payment accordingly. If you don't use it, you lose it, or you may lose it. So as more defaults happen and more turbulence happens in the market, so I need you to be quiet, okay? I love you, but you gotta be quiet, no counting. Count later, okay? I can see your counting is paying off. So I've had people actually have a home equity line of credits closed out on them without any notice. Maybe their credit score drops, who knows, maybe a judgment goes against them. So I always recommend keeping a balance or using it, even if you take it today and pay it back tomorrow just to show activity. Otherwise, again, you may have the bank freeze out or close out your line. Now, are you still counting? You're not listening? Look at all those houses. What do you think? How many houses are there? Count those. A lot of houses, right? So one thing I specialize in is on the commercial financing side, our blanket line of credits. So a lot of clients have investment properties that are paid off in full, no mortgage on them. I'm actually waiting on a commitment right now for a client here in New Jersey, where we're actually doing a blanket mortgage across 6 investment properties that are worth $3 million. And we're doing a $1.8 million line of credit against those, right? So can you please stop now? I'm not asking you again. So if you actually have clients that have a portfolio, these are great because they don't have to cash out, refinance, and pay a ton of closing costs, multiple fees, and everything else, right? In this instance, you fill out an application, you run your cash flow analysis, you get your income and expenses from the property. There's no debt to income ratio requirement, which is awesome. These are portfolio loans, right? And all you do is order the appraisal. The appraisals come back. You go into a quick underwriting. As long as your credit score is above 650, you're 9 out of 10 times approved, right? So these are, again, portfolio blanket lines of credit. Not every bank does them. Specifically in the New York and New Jersey market, we do a ton of these. I do a ton of these because clients, they don't want to pay a crazy amount of closing costs, and they also don't necessarily have projects lined up. So by this guy, for example, taking out $1.8 million, he wants to buy a property in Miami, all cash for $400. He'll go in, draw against the line, buy the property all cash for $400,000, rent it out. Then we'll do a cash out refinance to stabilize the property, give him long-term debt on that property, and now he pays back that line of credit. So it's a very great way for clients to maneuver. Nobody does, very few people know how to or actually do investment property lines of credit. We've done them. I give you 100 resources and people that have actually, successfully closed on these. You got to make sure that your clients cooperate, because the paperwork involved in this is very business oriented. And it's not like you qualify or you don't qualify based on DTI. It's a true entrepreneurial line of credit loan, and the rates still apply between like 4.5% and 5.5% interest only. So closing out this session today, got to get creative, got to form relationships, and got to stay ahead of the market. I can't emphasize that enough right now. Rates are going up. You can't control rates, but you can control relationships, and you can control delivering and executing on your word. Focus, double down on relationships, stay ahead of your competition, and don't forget to bring creativity into your business plan and model. For everyone on this call that watches this, please be sure to sign up for zoom@noon.com. Go to the website, just put your email address in. That way I can update everybody every week as far as the login link, and as well as any updates that are coming about. I got a lot of new and exciting news and tools and resources I believe will help everybody succeed in the upcoming turmoil or unknowns in the market. So we're going to close out today's presentation and open up Q&A. We can go ahead and start asking questions. If anybody wants to take themselves off mute, please go ahead and do that. Feel free to ask any questions as far as strategy goes, as far as interest rates go, or anything else that you may be experiencing right now in today's market environment.
I have a question, Jeff. This is Bill.
Hey, Bill, what's up, my man? How are you?
I'm doing great. Thanks. Good to talk to you.
Likewise.
So I understand the HELOCs. I understand the need and the purpose. Is there some, and I understand the strategy for getting future business out of it. Is there anything to speak of in it for us up front?
Is there any, so basically, are you asking, are you able to get paid up front?
And is it paid enough to make it worthwhile if that were our only consideration?
I'm going to be fully honest with you. The juice is not worth the squeeze, right? Let me just give you an example, right, of how I utilize the line of credit, right? So if somebody wants me to help them or had a bad experience somewhere else, I may charge like a $500 consulting fee, right? Depending on the client, to like review everything with them, make sure it fits in the parameters, give them a full strategy, financial guidance phone call, right? So I do it more on the consulting side. 9 out of 10 times, I'll do it to further and better my relationships with either recently closed clients, right? Or my referral partners, right? I'm not trying to make $250 just for helping somebody out, to be honest with you. That's just not what I'm doing. I use it more for a value add. And I also tell people like, look, I'm going to help you do this for free, but you got to refer me a deal. Or you need to send me someone else that that might want to utilize this product or program, right? So I kind of use it as like the happy hour concept, where I could potentially lose money on it or not make any money, but people also have nowhere else to go with that guidance, right? Oppositely, the banks I send the business to, I worked out and negotiated a deal with them where they actually refer me their fallout of deals they can't do for whatever reason, right? Low credit scores, commercial financing, bridge financing. So I actually do it where like the consumer and the actual bank has a win-win scenario, and then I kind of pick up the pieces when they fall apart elsewhere.
Okay, I got that.
So my personal opinion, Bill, for knowing your entrepreneurial vision and spirit and what you're building down in Atlanta, what I would do is I would open up a straight LLC consulting firm, company, whatever, Bill LLC, and then basically when you have your home equity line of credits, you can go and you can invoice through Stripe. Say, look, I charge $250 upfront consulting fee. I'll help you fill out the application. I'll help you get all your documents together. As soon as everything's vetted by me, the professional, I'll then go and place your loan at a bank and you deal with the bank directly.
Okay.
So it kind of keeps the wheels spinning, but it also allows you to become more valuable in your marketplace because your competition's not going out there helping people get line of credits, and then people are sitting on a ton of equity that they can't access.
Maybe, Jeff, maybe that I don't need that LLC because I'm not going to charge them squat. I'm just going to have them come to my office. If you want to do that,
God bless. I take that $250 and then I go buy a new referral partner. Let's maybe not stop right now. I'm on the phone. Stop. You do.
So I'm going to have them come sit in my realtor lounge and talk to me there about these HELOCs and do it gratis.
If your team takes this exact presentation and tailors it to your company and brand and strategy, and you build in other value adds of what your company offers, you'll have more people lined up at the door because there is zero education information about HELOCs in the market. Most people have no idea where to go or where to even begin.
I like it. I'm stealing it.
It's all yours, my friend. It's all yours. Anybody else have any questions? Anybody?
Hey,
Nobody?
Jeff. Hey, Jeff, it's Anna. How are
Hey,
you?
Anna, how are you?
Good, good. I have a question. So I know you said this is something that we can do, but how would we do that? Like, let's say where we work at doesn't offer that.
So you're saying like if you work at a mortgage company and they don't offer that,
Mm-hmm.
you do it on your own, right? So basically all you do is like I suggested the bill. I mean, anybody can legally open up an LLC. You don't even have to technically open up an LLC. The only reason why I suggest that is from liability purposes. You gotta stop son. So if you open up an LLC, let's just say it's AC LLC, and then you're able to legally bill consulting fees into that, and you have your client sign a disclosure that there's no association with the company you work for, right?
Yeah.
Most companies are not open to this again because they don't make any money off it. Stop, son. I can't do this right now. So if you're able to do that, you protect yourself from a liability standpoint. You tell your client, look, I'm legally charging you a consulting fee. This has nothing to do with ABC Mortgage Company. I'm doing this to help you out, but I have to charge you because there's my time that's being invested into this.
Got it. Thanks.
And again, just so you guys know, the normal fee is anywhere from like $275 to $1,000. And that fee's paid up front. So like if I have somebody that asks 5 million questions, doesn't cooperate, doesn't listen, I'm like, look, I'll give you 5 seconds, but after that I have to charge you a fee because you're picking my brain. And again, like there's no, reward at the end here for me, right? So if you wind up taking all the information and going somewhere else or going direct to a bank and taking all the strategy behind it, I just wasted my time and you benefited and I didn't, right? So I think that everybody should keep that in mind. Like your time is worth something. You're offering something in the marketplace that no one else is offering. And you have the resources to help them not only save money, but access their equity and save money over an extended period of time.
Jeff, turn around.
And I know, I was just sitting here massaging him. My son loves massages. So I'm literally sitting here
That's
like
great,
massaging
I
him
love
as
that.
I'm messing around with you. He literally took his shirt off as I'm sitting here answering the questions. Like, it's like, massage me. I'm like, all right, I'll massage you. I've created an animal, but hey, as long as he's a healthy animal, I'm okay with it.
So awesome, dude.
Yep. Does anybody else have any questions?
Yeah, so Jeff, we're kind of new to the HELOC. Well, at least I am, I'm on Bill's team. So we are it's a document side of it, kind of like the same as like a refinance then at that point. Like, is it just, or
so here's what I like to hear. So Jack, great question, right? And yeah, so what I always like to do, I tell all my clients this, like, I want to collect more than less. The nice thing about equity line of credits there's no true DTI or debt to income requirement, right? Because it's variable. Like you can go up to 69 DTI or like 72 DTI technically,
Wow.
right?
Yeah.
Right, I know. So it's very attractive for a lot of people. So I always collect the full document because then I also do like a side-by-side comparative analysis of, okay, I understand you don't want to lose your rate, but if you cash out refinance, put this money in your pocket, your tax benefits are X, right? And your actual, loss, if you will, or like your difference of what you're losing to what you're gaining is $200 a month, right? Again, for example. So I want to see the whole scenario and see if a cash out refinance dollar for dollar may be the best option. A lot of people are very short-minded, like, hey, I have a 3.5% rate. Yeah, but it was from 7 years ago, right?
Mhm.
So you pay down your mortgage so much at this point that even if you get a 4.5% rate, again, for example, right, and cash out and pay off debt, like your net savings monthly might actually put more money in your pocket monthly, even though your mortgage payment might go up, right? Like taking that cash out and factoring in the new tax benefit of your further increased interest tax deduction, that may actually pose to be the best financial option for you, right? So I would always recommend getting all the documents as if you're doing a regular full document mortgage. And then if you choose that that's not the best option, you could elect what you submit and don't submit.
Awesome. All right, cool. Thank you.
You're welcome. Go kick butt. You should be able to get 2 or 3 of these by the end of this week. I promise you.
Well, it's so funny. So, I'm from Long Island. I just got back last night to Atlanta, and my cousins were asking me. One cousin wants to buy, and I was like, oh, okay, so I got to get licensed in New Jersey, is what you're telling me. And then, but our company doesn't do New York. So my other cousin wants to do, they're trying to build out on their home. You know, it's like one of those old 1950 Long Island
Right.
houses. So they need to build out and they probably need like 200,000. And like when I did the calculations for like a cash out, it was a little less than 200. So I didn't even think about a HELOC because, you know, I've never even had access to them myself, but now that we do, so
Right.
now I'm gonna, and this call, the timing of this call couldn't have been any more perfect. So now I can educate them a little more about HELOC and maybe that would be the, you know, best bet for them. So
Love it. And again, so I always offer this obviously to everybody, but if anybody wants any help doing marketing or like a strategic post, like my personal opinion is like everyone that's on this call or watches this call, if you're in the mortgage business or you're a realtor, like you should get a social media post made and actually say like, hey, do you know about home equity line of credits? Now is the best time to do a home equity line of credit so you keep your permanent 30-year fixed rate and access your equity. I guarantee if every single person on this call that watches this post that, you will get a lead from someone you've never spoke to before, or that you haven't talked to in a long time, or a past client that comes to you and asks you for help and guidance because you are giving them access to information that's not known, right? So Jackie, also, by the way, side note, again, if you want my access to my graphic designer, feel free to connect with him directly. He
Thank
has all
you.
my pre-content already made. So all he would have to do is like plug your contact information in, your face and that stuff and give the same message. And that's open for everybody that watches this.
Awesome.
Just message me. I have a special deal worked out with him, but I can get a full, breakdown of discounted costs for you guys. But again, whether it's $10 or $20, whatever it costs to make that graphic, who cares if you get one deal off of it? It could pay 10 to 20 times that. Plus, you get a
Absolutely.
relationship for life, right? So it's all about the strategy and the marketing and the message behind the marketing, and not just doing generic marketing. With that also being said, so my bank that I work for, that I really don't tell anybody I work for because I don't like that, is we are licensed in 50 states. So if anybody watches this, or if anybody's not licensed in a certain state and you have a deal you need done, you can contact me directly. I'll set everything up for you. I'm not sure if legally we could do a fee share. I think you can legally share mortgage banking revenue. I'm not positive. I believe we've done it before creatively. But if anybody's interested in that or has a deal in a state they're not licensed in, feel free to reach out and I can help you guys, close those deals as well.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Anybody else have any questions? We have a really good turnout today. Hopefully there's a lot of people that got a lot of good information on here. Does anybody know anything that they're seeing in the market that might be an early trend? Has anybody spotted any early trends here? Cherie asked the question, can you talk about buying a second home with a HELOC? I'm a realtor. Yeah, absolutely, guys. So like, let's just use an example. So I'm actually going to go back in this presentation here and show this example here. So like, let's say, for example, you have a $500,000 house, $300,000 first mortgage, you do a home equity line of credit, and we now give you access to $129,950. Theoretically, take this number, right? Who do I want to pick on right now? Darren, I'm not going to pick on you. I know you get picked on enough. John or Christy, are either one of you interested in a nice challenge? Don't all speak at once. Does anybody want to play along with this, exercise I'm going to do here? Darlene, Jonathan, Nikki, anybody? Cherie, do you want to take yourself off mute? I can walk you through this since you asked the question. No? Man, we have a tough crowd today. Is everybody sleeping?
I'll play. I like a challenge.
Thanks, Jackie. I appreciate it. Thanks for saving me here. Okay, so here's what I want you to do just for easy simplicity purposes, right? So take 129,950 and multiply that number by 4. So times 4.
Okay.
What does that give you?
Oh, 129,950 times 4, you said?
Yeah, times 4. So it's like a
519,800.
519,800?
Yep.
Okay, so if you had access to this money, you could theoretically buy a house with a non-QM loan with 20% down up to that amount. So you take the amount that you have with the equity line of credit, multiply it by 4, and that gives you like your new purchasing power. Again, obviously there's caveats, taxes, insurance, and all the other good stuff that factors in, right? So
Yeah.
Cherie, in this case, the client would take the home equity line of credit for 129,950, and now they'd be able to buy a second home or investment property up to $519,000, for example, right? So that would be the best way of doing this. And again, most people are using second homes right now, as we all know, as Airbnbs. So you could actually use it as a second home, and you could also rent it out through Airbnb when you're not utilizing it yourself. And again, the credit score requirements are above 620. You know, obviously you have to have some money in the bank, but hopefully that answers your question on how simple that is. And it would be done as a light document mortgage, where literally you submit your application, pull credit, get the appraisal done, order title, get your home insurance, and you're wrapped up in 2 to 3 weeks. So it's a very easy process, and it's a great way for people to expand their real estate portfolio without struggling and jumping over a ton of hoops and hurdles.
Oh, I have another question.
Yeah.
Are rates for HELOC, are they pretty competitive, or do they like range like widely?
So it's all based on the client's financial profile, right? To be honest with you. But again, like a realistic rate today is a 4.5% interest only rate. So what I tell all my clients to do, okay? What are you talking for? If you could just go with Google and Google today's prime rate, I would say you take the prime rate. So like today was 3.5% and add 1% on top of that. And that's what the rate is. The rate changes daily because it's variable, but the prime rate is what 9 out of 10 home equity line of credits are based off.
Got it. Thanks.
You're welcome. Does anybody else have any questions? We're making some really good progress here. Hopefully everyone's learning a lot. Hopefully you're thinking about how you can extract more business for clients or add more value to your marketplace. Anybody? Nobody? What up, Max? Man, everyone's sleeping on the job today. All right, guys. Well, we're going to close out today's call. I hope everybody found some value in that. Dr. Jan, always great seeing you as well. Bill, thanks always for the questions. Hopefully you're getting that Realtor Lounge up and rocking. Feel free to send me over when you get a chance, the presentation you put together on the HELOCs and everything else. Happy to take a look at it for you and give you some insight on it. Everyone, stay optimistic. Again, as we spoke about a month or so ago, I did forecast rates potentially going to 5%, and we're just about there. I also said that if it hits 5%, it's going to be a very short-lived outlook. It's going to hit it. That's a ceiling, and it should come back down. Again, do forecast rates coming down from where they are today over the next 6 to 12, 18 months even. Keep your eye on oil, gold. All those things are key indicators of what's going on in the marketplace. And remember, you cannot control interest rates, but you can control relationships. So if you control relationships, let interest rates run themselves, okay? People are going to be worried. People are going to be asking questions. It comes from a place of fear. The more you educate them, the more they will feel absolutely confident that they're in good hands with you, okay? John, are copies of the slideshow available? Yes, absolutely. Every single Zoom at Noon that we do does get posted to YouTube as well, okay? So I'm going to start breaking up the YouTube, because I know a lot of people don't want to sit and wait and watch questions as well. So I'm going to start breaking up each episode with the actual seminar presentation, followed up by the Q&A. That way, anybody that just wants to watch the presentation can do that. And anyone that wants to just watch the Q&A can do that as well. So as always, appreciate you guys. If anybody does not have any questions before we close out, again, speak now or forever hold your peace. Thanks, John, for joining today. And again, John, all of the prior Zoom at Noons are recorded. They are on YouTube. Highly recommend you checking everything out, prior episodes. I hope everyone continues to find value in this. I'm debating on what episode is going to be next week as far as topic goes. I'm going to see what happens in the market. But if anybody has any suggestions, wants, or wishes, email me, message me, whatever you need. If I can help you out directly and do a presentation geared around what's going to help you succeed, I'm more than willing to do that. So thank you, everybody, again for joining, and I will see you guys all next week.